Okay, the majority of this is pretty much dried out, so I'm gonna do the burnishing in here just in a minute. One thing I noticed when let me try to get my light in here. A lot of the spots, there's some divots and stuff. This wasn't the best made pot. It's all just an experiment here for me. But what I'm going to do is I'm also see if I can fill in some of those things to make it a little bit smoother on the inside, and then I can even burnish the inside. Now, for burnishing, what I do is I picked up these little decorative rocks. They're fairly smooth. I got them from the dollar store, a whole bag of them for $1. And I'll use the smooth edge here in applying. I don't want to apply too much pressure because what happens, I don't want to crack anything, but just enough. It's a little bit of pressure, and the rubbing back and forth, it'll generate some heat, and as you go around it, and it'll actually kind of compress the clay. Now, this is normally I would not do this at this stage. It would actually be done more at a leather hard stage, so there's a lot more moisture in the clay. This has almost no moisture, so I'm not sure that this is going to work, but we're going to try this here. So let me put the camera down here, and I'm just going to, and I can see it's kind of, not sure about burnishing. I saw one lady on LinkedIn had a video, and she actually used oil on her piece to burnish. And I questioned her about that. I'd never seen anybody use oil before. And she says, well, it doesn't really, I mean, it helps in that, it helps to keep a lot of the moisture in the clay. So and her pieces look really nice. I've had a lot of good luck with burnishing and not using this. This is the first time I've actually tried to burnish it just at the bone dry stage, and I'm really concerned that this, because it's fairly thin here up at the rim. So I'm really concerned that it might break. So I'm trying to be even more cautious. Let me see, move this back a little bit so hopefully you can see. It's kind of smoothening, and I'm seeing a few. Let's see if I can just do it this way. A few light spots are starting to shine up a little bit. Again, I'm just going to do this real gently. I don't want to put too much pressure down. And I'll probably do another video just on burnishing. I can see a little bit of shine, so that's good. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, especially at this stage. It's really fragile, but it's kind of smoothing out. Normally, if I wanted to do this process, I would. You can see it's kind of a little shiny there. If I wanted to do this process, I probably would have kept the clay without any texture on it at all. But it's interesting. You can hear as it gets to the rim, it actually kind of changes tone, kind of has a different sound, and that's because it's fairly textured here. So this actually is helping to smoothen it out a little bit. And I'm pause this for a minute and then I'll finish it and come back. One thing I was thinking about, maybe what I should have done is, before actually starting to burnish, I could have taken, I have one of these little pads here, got it actually from Walmart. It has a coarser grit and then a finer grit on this side, and I could have used this to bring it a lot smoother first. That would have probably made a lot easier on myself. Instead of putting all the sweat equity in my arms here, it would have been on the pad instead. But that will be for another time. So, but as you can probably see, there's starting to get a little more glassy. This bottom part right here is a little thicker than it is at the top. So I'm able to add or have a little bit more pressure. Haven't gotten to this side yet. Have a little more pressure. This is actually fairly smooth feeling right here. So I will continue. Taking a little bit of water on my piece of paper towel here. I'm just going to wipe around here, get some of the excess dust off after. And back to the burnishing here. I can see already just that little bit of work is getting a nice shine. And I'm not so concerned about making it 100%. It's actually some of the pits and all that will give it some character, and if I do decide to glaze this, there'll be places where the glaze is going to stick and places where the glaze, you know, won't stick as much, just depending on how I go about it. So as I go around, it actually starts to look almost like a marble. That's how I always think of it, which is something that I really like. But being this is a bowl, and the whole idea of a bowl is to, at least with this size, is to have food in it. This will have to be probably glazed, at least with a clear coat, so that it's food safe. You know, even if I use this for myself, obviously I want it to be food safe so that I'm not getting sick. And if I was to sell this piece, obviously I don't want my customers to get sick. This is all still an experiment for me. I'm still learning a lot of processes and how the clay is going to work. Here I can see there's looks like a piece of the paper clay. It's kind of in a little lump here. Not sure if the camera can pick that up, but right here it's a little lumpy. But it all gives it character. It's my personal belief that nature is not perfect. There's no straight lines and exactly straight lines in nature, and I like my pieces to reflect a more natural look. So it may not be perfect, but if it's functional, if it's supposed to be a functional piece, as this would be, you know, it has to obviously be used for its intended purpose. I think you can see now it's really starting to look good. It actually gets that darker color. So I'll probably work on this a little bit more, and then I'm going to also work on the inside. Again, there's some parts where you can see in the back there, they just have holes. You can tell where I did not join the coils too well. Get back in the light here. I did not join the coils too well, so that's where it had a lot of chipping and all that. I've been working on that process and that technique. So I'm going to see if this paper clay can even fix that. Again, it's another piece of functional art, you know, and it's always, you know, with ceramics and all that. I'm just having fun learning what it can do, what it can't do. I've had more pieces than I care to think about that have broken under either a heavy hand or just because I didn't do a technique properly. But that's okay, because that's all part of the process. So thank you, and you have a blessed day.